Space, the final frontier, or the final front fear. Am I right? Anyone? Okay, I'm sorry. I wouldn't blame you if you logged off after that. But if you do stick around, you'll be treated to some of the best of extraterrestrial scares. That's right, in space, no one can hear you scream. Although I won't be including Alien on this list because it's a given. We all know it's an all-time classic, so let's give some other space scares sometime in the sun, or in the moon. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 scary space horror movies. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more starlit strangulation. Perfect. Let's begin. Coming in at number 5, we've got Life Force. Space vampires. What could be better? Not much, right? Especially with Toby Hooper at the helm, and just a crazy array of stylistic choices. The folks on set described the shoot as caffeinated, which I think is exactly what Hooper needed after working for years with the more restrictive Spielberg. Life Force tells the tale of 3 folks discovered in deep space. Not normal folks, mind you, they are the titular space vampires. And for a long while, they remain in suspended animation. Of course, once some humans show up, they get to do what they do best: sucking the life force from people. Now, only a little bit of this movie actually takes place in space, but given the fact that we get to see the space vampires in all their glory multiple times, I'll give it a pass. After sneaking their way into the general population by using shape-shifting powers, the vampires infect as many Earthlings as they possibly can. A fun little lore tidbit, it's implied that these space vampires show up on Earth every once in a while, and are actually responsible for the vampire myths and legends we all know and love. Life Force is just a blast of a horror movie with enough practical effects craziness to satisfy just about anyone. We get to see bodies simultaneously sucked dry and rehydrated. We watch a plastic Patrick Stewart vomit blood out of every facial orifice. We watch a man transform into a giant winged creature and then explode, and more. It's all very good stuff. Oh, and it was also written by Dan O'Bannon, who wrote Alien. I know we said we wouldn't discuss Alien today, but that's like a fun bit of trivia that might sell some more people on Life Force. Coming in at number 4, we've got Sunshine. Alright, now for a much more bleak, critically acclaimed movie. Directed by Danny Boyle of Trainspotting fame and written by Alex Garland, who went on to make Ex Machina and Annihilation, this is a lesser-known indie gem. Part mission to save the world, part survival story, part space-bound slasher flick, Sunshine is a fascinating exploration of the human spirit, corruptions and all. Set in the far future, we learn that the sun has gone out, leaving Earth cold and barren. A team of international astronauts, all with different skills, bands together to pilot a ship with a star bomb in the hopes of reigniting the sun. It's a suicide mission, but they're humanity's last hope. Flying off into space, they pick up on a distress signal coming from the ship that left before them, the Icarus I. Of course, the Icarus II has to go and see what's up. 2 bombs are better than 1 after all. The blend of sci-fi and horror in Sunshine is unparalleled, managing to both be fascinating and frightening with a whole lot of human emotions mixed in. A star-studded ensemble cast makes a lot of the moments when people are really feeling the existential fear work even better. Cillian Murphy, Chris Evans, Rose Byrne, and Benedict Wong set this cast apart from many others. If you've seen Europa Report, you've got a bit of an idea of what you're getting here. However, Sunshine adds even more moving parts, thrilling and chilling through technical malfunctions, unknown variables, and a horrifying slasher movie penultimate act. The crew knows it's a suicide mission, but they carry on regardless. The knowledge of impending doom adds weight to their actions and brings you right to the edge of your seat when things go wrong. Coming in at number 3, we've got PANDORUM. Has anyone ever heard of orbital dysfunctional syndrome? It's a form of psychosis caused by deep space and tends to be triggered by emotional stress. While we haven't really managed to send people on long enough space voyages to really experience the full effects, it's a popular theory to draw upon in sci-fi horror. Paranoia, delirium, and a telltale nosebleed are all symptoms of it. Another word for orbital dysfunctional syndrome? PANDORUM. Aw, there we go. This is a central theme in the movie while also playing the part of the title. 2 men awaken early from hibernation aboard a massive colonizing ship headed to a new Earth-like planet. Earth itself has died out and the last remnants of humanity live aboard the Elysium. The early awakening causes the men to suffer from amnesia and they do their best to piece together what's going on. It's not long before they realize the ship is now inhabited by a strange mutant cannibalistic race of quasi-humans. Uh-oh. The reactors aboard the ship seem to be malfunctioning, so it's up to the 2 members of the flight crew to fight their way to fix them. Things are bleak aboard this ship, with some folks doing their best to create and maintain a violent, cannibalistic society. There's something wrong with the water everyone's drinking too. Make sure you keep in mind that word from earlier, Pandorum. Coming in at number 2, we've got Solaris. Plenty of the movies on this list, and even movies that didn't make the list today, owe a whole lot to this Tarkovsky film. Many directly reference it as an influence in their own scary space movies, and others likely pulled from it without even realizing. Such is the influence of the late great Andrei Tarkovsky. Basing the movie on a book of the same title by Stanislaw Lem, Tarkovsky set out to make a sci-fi movie not about advanced technology and alien races, but instead about humanity and spirituality. Psychologist Chris Kelvin heads out to an old space station, with his mission focused on deciding whether or not it should continue operation. The station studies an oceanic planet known as Solaris, and seems to cause hallucinations among those who visit. Arriving at the space station, Kelvin is largely ignored by the resident scientists. He also discovers that his only friend among the men working there has committed suicide. Soon, strange things start happening. His late wife, Hari, appears in his quarters. Panicking, he fires her out into the cold vacuum of space, but she keeps coming back though. Not quite real, not exactly a ghost either. More mysteries reveal themselves as time goes on, and Kelvin has to make sense of it all as best he can. In classic Tarkovsky style, Solaris reveals itself to the audience very slowly. Long takes and deep focus characterize this film, letting the dread and discomfort slowly wash over everything. While less immediately and obviously scary than the other selections for this list, this might be the most lasting of the bunch, and if you give it the attention it deserves, it will stick with you. Coming in at number 1, we've got Event Horizon. This is a movie that will take you to hell and back. Literally. Well, at least some approximation of hell. Event Horizon is a stark, gory, cerebral horror that didn't get its fair shake back when it was released. Unfortunately, like a lot of movies, plenty was cut before it hit theaters, leaving it feeling incomplete. But the stuff that was still there is definitely compelling enough for a watch or 5. It takes influences from all over the map, from Alien to Solaris, which we mentioned earlier, to Hellraiser and beyond. The flick is jam-packed full of wicked stuff, so get over the fact that it's a little stilted and hold on for a crazy ride. The set design is nuts. It features Lawrence Fishburne, and every scare feels unique. There's a reason for that last bit too. See, the story of Event Horizon goes like this. A ship called Event Horizon disappeared 7 years before the start of the movie, and the crew of the Lewis and Clark is sent out when it reappears. When they make it to the ghost ship, it is immediately apparent that something went terribly wrong. On top of a totally decimated crew of 18, the empty vessel is full of clues that point to a fate much worse than death. If you were worried about it being a little tame, you know, being in outer space and all, you could put those fears aside. Body horror is abound in Event Horizon, with all sorts of parts being annihilated in ways you wish you could forget. If only they could have kept all the original footage. Who knows what kind of horrors we might have come face to face with. Alright, who's down to hijack a spaceship? I'm ready to meet my destiny out beyond the mesosphere. If an alien rips my guts out, so be it. What'd you think of the list? What would be the worst way to die in space? How about the best? What's your favorite space horror movie? Are you mad that I left out Jason X? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more ventilated ones from the top 5 scary ghost horror movies that changed all the rules. Lynn Weir says, love Crimson Peak, such a great movie. Even my partner enjoyed it and he doesn't like horror. It's always a good sign. I think a lot of people went in with the wrong set of expectations and either came away really impressed or sort of underwhelmed. Baby D804 says, yeah, I had a poltergeist in my house once. My ex-wife. Baby D, you're not old enough to get married. You know, on account of you being an infant and whatnot. David Basnight says, even as old as it is, I still think no other ghost movie has topped Poltergeist in scale. Even with the sensational story, there was a lot of heart. Poltergeist was more of an event than a movie. I think you might be onto something here. I'm still waiting on the next event horror to hit the big screens. Oliver says, aha, watch me go ghost mode and haunt some creepy woods. What? Creepy woods. I'd have a hard time watching if you just disappear into some forest. And Charlie Wilkinson says, I once had this nightmare where I woke up and the little boy out of The Grudge was sat on the end of my bed, and it turned to me and did the cat noise, and it felt so real. It was bloody terrifying, but the best dream I've ever had, haha. You consider something like that to be the best dream you've ever had? My goodness. I mean, at least you had fun, I guess. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I find a gigantic pencil sharpener to stick my head into, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more star stuff and screaming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See the event. If you were worried it could be. If you were worried. It seems to draw on the fears of each character. No, cut that. I don't know why I'm trying to include that. It's not gonna work. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more ventilated ones from the top 5 scary ghost story. David Basnight says, even as old as it is, try saying that 5 times fast.